Hello, and welcome to the Fintech Forward 2022. My name is Gintarė Bačiulienė. I am head of technology team at Invest Lithuania, and I will be the host for the first part of the event today. It's exciting to see so many of you interested to see and hear about the fintech sector developments in Lithuania, and to celebrate the milestones that we've achieved together. But before we do that, I would like to acknowledge Ukraine's heroic fight against the aggressor, and would like to invite you to continue to provide support to Ukraine. You can do that by using the QR codes on the screen and provide support, donate to the organizations that aid Ukraine. Please do that now. Thank you. And now I would like to invite our honorable guest, Armonaitė, Minister for Economy and Innovation, to say a welcome word.
Sveiki visi, good evening. Well, first of all, I'm very happy we have such an important event where we can, consider our achievements and look for new opportunities and look at the future, what the future brings for our financial technology sector. Of course, thank you all of the companies that are participating in organizing support for Ukrainian people. There are so many financial technology companies that do that, and I really appreciate it. We think that any support is essential in any way you can. So just yesterday I came back from the Middle East where we met fintech companies both from Israel and Palestine. All of them know Lithuania and how flexible, how fast, how liberal in a good way Lithuanian financial technology jurisdiction is. And many of them, of course, consider coming here, to participate in this ecosystem, to reach other places in Europe through Lithuania as their gateway. Here, well, not here physically, but in the Ministry of Economy and Innovation, we of course very much support the proactive stance that Bank of Lithuania, Ministry of Finance took during the past year, in order to have more financial technology companies, in order to have, more vibrant ecosystem. Me personally, I really believe that we have to maintain this path. Some of the people, there are colleagues, we know that some of them, perceive financial technology companies and sector as a possible threat. There are stories here and there that somebody may not be proud of. However, let's not think that all of the companies and all of the ecosystem is like that. On the contrary, our companies are responsible, they do support Ukraine, they do apply anti-money laundering measures, they do apply different kind of transparency measures and so on. And this is something that is very important to note. We are launching an innovation agency this year, actually next month. New innovation agency will start its operations, and fintech, ICT in general, but fintech in particular, will play an important role in the activities of this particular agency. So again, thank you for your work, thank you for everything you're doing, thank you for being here in Lithuania, and let's move forward. Thanks.
Thank you, Minister, for such an inspiring speech and for emphasizing the impact that the fintechs create for the Lithuanian economy and beyond. Our speakers today will provide even more examples of the impact and the innovation that the fintechs are driving for the benefit of all of us. So I think it is now time to unveil officially the 5th annual Lithuanian Fintech Landscape report. Invest Lithuania each year conducts an in-depth analysis of the sector, and we also invite companies to participate in the survey. And the data, both from the statistical research and analysis and the survey results, is used in the report. So I would like to thank all of the contributors, all the participants of the survey, because without your contribution it would not be possible. And I'm very excited to invite my colleague, Liutauras Žilinskas, Fintech Advisor at Invest Lithuania, to present key highlights from the newest version of the Lithuanian Fintech Landscape report.
So thank you, Gintarė. Good afternoon to everyone gathered here in person at ROCKIT, and hello to those tuning in to our live translation. It's so great to have this type of event back up and running and meet some of you here face to face. So, another year has passed in our common project of building Lithuania as a fintech hub. And for the past 5 of those years, together with ROCKIT and numerous other institutions, our team at Invest Lithuania has been hard at work in documenting, analyzing, and promoting our ecosystem through our Fintech Landscape in Lithuania report. And today, we're so happy to share some of those key insights with you today. If I could describe the past year in one word, it would be record. Record for the number of companies we have in our ecosystem, record for the number of employees those companies employ, for the funds they raise, and for the revenues they have. And so no matter how you slice last year's data, you would probably find a record hidden in there somewhere. It's really unprecedented how much our entire community and country have achieved in such a short time span. And today, we're here to reflect on last year's developments, celebrate milestones we reached in 2021, and then take a peek into some of the future trends that we forecast. And so, without further ado, let's get into some of those insights from our FinTech report. Now, starting probably from the most quotable number of our report, we're so delighted to say that our fintech community has grown by 15% to 265 companies last year. During that time, Lithuania welcomed 35 new market participants, from financial brokerage and wealth tech companies to crypto and blockchain providers, multiple financial software firms. Financial services continued to be transformed by fintech innovators, from newcomers coming in and disrupting the ecosystem to already established entities providing new suite of products. The whole development of our fintech sector has been exceptional in the last decade, growing almost 5-fold in 7 years, from 55 companies in just 2014 to over 260 we have today. In terms of other important achievements, Lithuania has been ranked 9th globally amongst lowest risk jurisdictions in Basel AML Index, showing our continued focus on Lithuania, on license in Lithuania as a quality trademark and guarantee. Further on, Lithuania still remains the largest fintech hub in Europe in terms of companies that are established and licensed here. And together, these factors and many more that I will share with you today coalesce to a fact that Lithuania still shares the spotlight among top 10 fintech centers of the world, together with countries such as US, UK, Singapore, Israel, and Switzerland. So these, and of course many other reasons, are why global brands are attracted to Lithuania and continue to establish their operations here. Thus, we would like to warmly welcome our new community members of 2022, Airwallex, Banksa, Sezzle, GPS Capital Markets, Fundvest, Woolsocks, and many, many others. And this is not to even mention a whole host of local entrepreneurs and local companies who start their journeys here and expand their services outwards. So for all, we thank you and really hope that Lithuania will justify your expectations and you will be able to grow here successfully. Now, zooming into our own ecosystem, we can see that in 2021, payments remained the main components of Lithuania's fintech hub. Together with financial software and lending companies, they make up the majority of the market in Lithuania. However, our FinTech hub has been continuously diversifying, and we're seeing growth in number of digital banking, savings and investment companies. However, last year we also noticed that actually the brunt of growth happened in blockchain and cryptocurrency segment, probably a continuum of the immense success the entire industry has had over the past couple of years. And lastly, as the number of companies in the regulated segment grow, the need for local vendors is increasing continuously. And we're seeing that reflected in compliance, management and cybersecurity, big data and analytics segments. Now, sometimes we get a question, so what do all of these fintechs here in Lithuania do? And according to our survey, we're happy to see that they perform essential functions, including compliance, engineering, customer onboarding procedures, product development, and business development related activities. So basically, everything that a company needs to function. And we're seeing that more and more every year. From Invest Lithuania's perspective, the common story that we see is a company comes over to Lithuania, receives a license, starts operating, but then as it experiences our ecosystem and its whole host of benefits, they start adding on functions. And in time, they become a full-fledged operational office. Now, another interesting aspect of our fintech ecosystem is that it's quite international. Almost half of fintechs established here are of foreign origin. And about 60% of them actually have their HQ located in Lithuania. And important to note here specifically are UK and US, which collectively make up 16% of the total Lithuanian fintech market here, which really highlights the importance of these two countries as investments flow to our country. Now, further on, the number of specialists employed in fintech has increased dramatically by an incredible 48% in 2021. A record year for fintech sector in Lithuania. And according to our survey results, the increase in the number of employees hired can be attributed to a variety of factors. First of all, they are of course responding to the increasing demands in the market, but also importantly, last year was incredibly successful for fundraising, both internationally and also locally. Thus, sort of new fuel is injected to the power to hire employees from fintechs. I'd also like to note that the share of companies employing fewer than 5 people have decreased by 10%, and the average size of a fintech in Lithuania has risen. If we sort of take an average fintech in Lithuania and follow it throughout its journey, we can see that it has continued to expand throughout the years, and now employs 22 people on average, which is also a sign of our sector maturing gradually, and companies here getting bigger. Digging deeper into the talent ecosystem trends and comparing the situation with last year, it seems that specialists in compliance and risk management fields have gone in demand by quite a lot, followed by engineers and IT specialists closely. Demands for business dev and product management specialists have slightly decreased, while for finance and administration we saw a slight marginal increase as well. However, we're happy to see that our talent ecosystem grows in tandem with our needs of our fintech hub. Lithuania is currently ranked 3rd in the EU by the labor force growth, which takes into account metrics such as education and demographics. We're also 4th in the EU by young specialists joining ICT market, which in turn means that our labor force is actually quite young, and the total segment we project will grow further into the future. For example, according to our own research, we see an 11% growth in compliance and risk management related fields of total specialists there. From that, we see that on junior to more mid positions, there's 25% growth separately. And because of this, what we found through our survey results is that companies will continue to hire in Lithuania next year. And 12% of them expect to sometimes double their headcounts and hire between 30 and 100 employees. Now, circling back to our regulatory environment, we see that Lithuania is still #1 in Europe in terms of licenses issued and continues to attract global fintechs that are looking to unlock European markets. Just in 2021, there were 8 fully passportable licenses issued, And with our new site set on wealth tech and financial brokerage firms, insurtechs, crowdfunding platforms, we see no signs of their slowing. Now, of course, a huge part of the attractiveness of Lithuania and its regulatory environment is the infrastructure that enables it. Looking at data from Centralink, we can see that the system experienced another record year of growth, setting new records in both transaction numbers and value. More than 169 million transactions were made within the system, and the value exceeded 228 billion euros. So a truly hyperbolic growth, however you look at it. In 2021, we also started to track revenues for fintechs established in Lithuania. We see that our sector started off quite timidly in its early stages, reached a hyper-growth status in 2018, and in 2020 it reached an aggregated growth of 13% per year. Amongst businesses experiencing the highest revenue growth were fintechs operating in the payments, financial software, and digital banking subsectors. Now, for 2021, we project as impressive results. When the data for the rest of the unregulated sector, like financial software companies, compliance solution providers, and lenders comes in, we think that it's safe to assume that we would be approaching a 1 billion euro mark in revenue per year, which is truly monumental for our ecosystem. Now, if we look where do Lithuanian fintechs generate those revenues, mainly we see that it's focused towards business customers, where SMEs and corporate clients make up the brunt of the clientele, and the rest are geared towards retail customers and governmental institutions. Another achievement is the record fundraising activity last year, when local businesses in Lithuania have raised over 430 million euros collectively. Fintech have, out of that, accounted for 65 million, which is a fourfold increase for last year from 2020, and actually the average seed investment also doubled to 3.5 million euros. According to our survey results, angel investment, venture capital, and private equity are the top 3 external sources of funding. And actually, uniquely to Lithuania, almost 1/3 of survey participants indicate that they are mostly revenue funded. And now, considering multiplied investments in all verticals in 2021, the fintech sector is anticipated to be headed in the same direction. So with a positive outlook towards the future, 47% of our survey respondents indicated that they will fundraise next year, and 17% forecast raising over 10 million. So really ambitious plans for the whole of our ecosystem, and who knows, maybe next year we'll be celebrating this event and celebrating our first Lithuanian fintech unicorn born here. Now, Lithuania's fintech ecosystem also stands out for its diversity at every level, from the range of functions higher to the number of women and multicultural backgrounds among employees. With half of the total labor force being female, Lithuania remains a leader globally by the share of women employed across all jobs, including highly skilled occupations. This is well reflected in the fintech sector, as nearly 60% of surveyed fintechs indicate that the proportion of women across all organization levels is higher than 40%, and even more of them have higher percentages. 3/4 of surveyed companies confirmed that they have at least 3/4 have confirmed that they have at least 41% of international teams represented from 5 different continents. And now, what should we expect from 2022? So, understanding the challenges that fintech companies face is critical for the continuous efforts to foster a thriving fintech ecosystem here in Lithuania. If previous years have challenged fintechs with COVID-19 and unprecedented changes in the market, we'd say 2021 was a year of change. The key challenges that surveyed fintech companies dealt with in 2021 were focused among 3 key pillars of fintech's operations: attracting talent, product development, and compliance. And our survey Fintech has indicated that those similar challenges are still in place for 2022. And now, delivering a sneak peek into what's coming for Fintech in Lithuania 2022, we can see a lot of excitement in instant payments and open banking, as PSD2 regulation is still in full force, and many are looking for new innovative ways to take advantage of that. We also see interest in decentralized finance and digital currencies catching up, as these are the topics that are becoming hotter and hotter amongst our fintech circles. So, overall, we expect 2022 to be a very exciting year for fintech in Lithuania. Fueled by initiatives on national, EU, and global level, we forecast new milestones and new records reached. For example, the new guidelines for fintech sector development in Lithuania by the Ministry of Finance and the capital markets development plan by the Bank of Lithuania should set a new strategic direction for the whole sector, making the ecosystem and the environment even more competitive for global and local fintechs. Now, on the EU level, crowdfunding regulation will allow companies to explore new business models across EU, and new sandbox frameworks will also allow to test novel solutions. So a whole host of interesting things are coming for us next year. And reflecting on the records we had, let's be inspired from them to achieve even higher results for 2022. And let's meet up next time to celebrate this as well.
Thank you, Liutauras. Our team has put a lot of effort into preparing the report, so I can assure you there's many more fascinating figures and stories to be found, so get your copy and let us know what you think. And next, we'll continue with the keynote by Lina Žemaitytė-Kirkman, head of ROCKIT, who will speak about the impact of the fintechs and how they weathered the challenges of the past year. And what's even more exciting, that Lina will also reveal the new fintech map of Lithuania. So welcome, Lina.
Good afternoon, everyone. I certainly do have a very challenging topic that I have to talk about today. But first of all, I want to welcome you all. It does not stop sparking joy for me to see so many people in these audiences after 2 years of talking just directly to the camera and hoping that someone listens to me. Although I do know that over 200 people are listening online as well, so warm welcome to you too. So the topic that I'm going to talk about today is the Lithuanian Fintechs resilient and financial inclusion through the crisis times. And I'm very happy that we can be part of Invest in Lithuania report, can be part of this event. And when last year we started talking about the report and what should ROCKIT have in its section within the report and what we should talk about, it didn't take us very long to think, as there is certainly one word that is a buzzword recently, as a colleague of mine says, sustainability is the new black. And indeed, sustainability has been a word that's been used and sometimes even abused. And in finance, sustainability comes in the form of the green finance. So we talk about the green finance, and we definitely chose this topic as our Invest in Lithuania report. So if you flick through the pages in the report, if you manage to download it, you definitely will see the part of ROCKIT where we talk about that. But then beginning of this year came, and we have a certain geopolitical turbulence happening next door to us, which made us change our topic slightly. And the topic of resilience sprung to mind. What does it mean to be resilient? What does it mean to stand and continue doing your business when everything around you is falling apart? So we swiftly changed the topic, and that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today. So there's few topics I'll cover. One's definitely resilience. You'll be hearing that word quite a bit from me today, and it's been even mentioned, people talking before me. Also, I will talk about climate, I'll talk about financial inclusion, and I'll talk about the strength of Lithuanian fintech ecosystem. Sounds like eclectic topics, but I promise you they all connect in the end. So let's start with this resilience and the traditional definition. So what is resilient? What does it mean to be resilient? So in the traditional definition that you can see on the slide, it's basically the ability to continue and do your business, no matter what's the environment around you. And we all started talking about resilience quite a lot during the pandemic. So we almost forgot it now, but there's been pandemic for 2 years that we are about to come out of. And through the pandemic, especially financial institutions, not only fintechs, started talking about resilience sort of from 2 points. On one hand, there was human resilience, like the human force and people's resilience. So we all discovered we have mental health that needs to be resilient if we want to continue to work. And I think that all the companies, not only the fintechs or finance, but all the sectors started talking about the financial, not financial, but mental, I'll come to financial later, financial health like never before. I think that's, it was important to acknowledge that the emotional resilience is something that is important to continue working and be productive. And even when we had the war breaking out, it seemed like it was easier for all of us to talk about the shock that we feel, because during the 2 years of pandemic, we rehearsed how to talk about how we feel. So on the other hand, so one hand is mental health. On the other hand, we talk about their operational resilience. So also in the COVID times, there was a grand rehearsal of how do you operate your business when all of your customers are sitting at home on the sofa and they're not coming to you. So from this, the old joke came about, you know, out of your C-suite, who helped your company's digitalization most? Was it A, CEO, B, CTO, or C, Corona? And obviously the answer is the Corona helped everyone digital transformation, because that happened so quickly, because there was no other way. You had to, if you wanted to operate, you had to go online. So in this case, fintechs have showed a lot of resilience, because they, by definition, are digital first. They didn't have to transform themselves, but actually took this as an advantage of being digital and being online and being able to access their customers. So through the pandemic, fintechs, we can safely say, proven that they are resilient and they can continue business in no matter what environment. And even so much so that governments across the globe are turning to fintechs, asking for help to help the governments become more resilient. And in 2 topics mainly. One is climate and the other one is financial inclusion. So we'll start from climate. Obviously, as I said, sustainability is the new black. Green fintech is on the rise. There is actually a new fintech niche that is called climate fintech is emerging. Although that's really poses a question, is it a niche or is it that something that's always been around, it's just got a new name and new attention? So as you can see from the serious faces behind me, Mr. Marius Jurgilas from Bank of Lithuania and Dominikas Stankevičius from Launchpad having a very serious conversation about the green fintech in Fintech Day that we've been holding here at ROCKIT, the Fintech conference back in February. If you have not participated or have not seen, there's a lot of good debates that have been happening there, and it's all available on ROCKIT's YouTube channel. So advertisement is over, and we can continue. So how do governments ask for fintechs to help them with the climate and sustainability issues? One example is Switzerland, who back in 2020 actually launched a green fintech network. The green fintech network's main idea was to understand what do fintechs, especially the green fintechs, need so they could grow stronger and help the banks, which Switzerland has plenty of, as we know, to help them to prepare for the upcoming taxonomy laws. And why does the government think that it's actually fintechs who can help to do that, not anyone else? So a few reasons. One is that fintechs are able to make sense out of data, and also, especially because they are lean, they are agile, they have a huge tolerance for trial and error, they fail fast, they learn fast, and they can come with the best ways and therefore to come banks to prepare for the upcoming taxonomy laws within the green agenda. I know that this is a big topic for Bank of Lithuania as well, therefore we have Mr. Jurgilas talking on this topic, and we wrote, that's why we as ROCKIT chose this topic to be part of the report within the Invest in Lithuania report. There's not too many fintechs in Lithuania right now that can be called climate fintechs or that are making waves in the green finance area. But I really hope, and this is my sort of wish for the next year, I hope it comes true, that next year when we present the Invest in Lithuania report, I can talk about those climate fintechs making waves in Lithuania here as well. So the other topic that government's been turning to fintechs for help in is the financial inclusion. So in our, again, I'll mention the Fintech Day conference that's been happening before. The financial inclusion has been the topic that not only had its own panel discussion, but it's been coming up again and again and again as the trending topic and something that is the fintech and the governments are really looking into. The World Bank gives a description. What is the financial inclusion? So it's a product that is available for everyone who might need it, and is also accessible and affordable. In developing world, we've seen success stories, possibly everyone heard about Africa's M-Pesa and such likes, where underbanked people finally get, because of fintechs, finally get to use everyday simple transactions like payments, transfers, but also can start getting loans, and especially small or agricultural business can actually start growing the communities and the economy just because they have that access to the funds. So this is the power of the financial inclusion, and actually we don't even have to look at Africa. I know that in Lithuania, the small SMEs, especially in the agricultural area, usually are a little bit overlooked by the traditional banks, and there is a certain fintech who actually serves them, and that was actually the reason for their growth, because they took this underserved section of the society, I could say, or business. So in the pandemic also we've seen this come into play. The governments worldwide, they turned to no one else but fintechs themselves to help distribute the government funds for the SMEs who were affected by the pandemic and who needed help at that time. Lithuania was absolutely no exception here. It's a lot of fintechs that we personally know here that been helping with distributing those loans to SMEs. And there was one thought that's been said by Pascal Denau, which is the finance minister of Ireland, and he was visiting Lithuania at the end of last year, and he came here to ROCKIT, and we had this conversation, and he said something that really stuck with me, and in his words were these: Lithuania's economy has not suffered through the pandemic so much, or in fact was one of the very few economies in Europe that actually did not receive a lot of damage during the pandemic because of the very strong Lithuanian fintech ecosystem. I'll repeat this again. Lithuania's economy has not suffered so much because one of the reasons was because Lithuania's fintech ecosystem is so strong. It really did stuck with me, and I was thinking, if this is not resilience, I then don't know what it is. So to sum up, for the fintechs to be resilient, they have to do a lot of things. They have to fulfill regulatory requirements, to be prepared for security threats, eliminate the risks of outages. And for me, I think that this is perhaps what Bank of Lithuania was calling for when they were calling for maturity. So in my head, maturity and resilience is almost the equal sign between those two, and we can use those as synonyms. And what does it mean to be mature? To be mature means that when everything around you is falling apart, you can take care of yourself, but also take care of others. And Minister has opened with this remark, and I want to finish my speech with this remark, that the Lithuanian fintech community has really helped not only themselves, but the ones around them, and we especially have seen then when the war broke out. So with this unrest that's happening, with the sanctions, with war, with the general shock all around Europe, it seems that not only it has not had any negative effect on Lithuanian fintech, but actually Lithuanian fintech rose and yet again showed its strength. So I'm going to share a few examples what Lithuanian fintech community has been doing. So of course, first, majority of business that has been done with Belarus or Russia has been stopped. We know that there have been fintechs that made it easier to open the accounts here in Lithuania for Ukrainian refugees, because to open the account, obviously, you need to have EU residence, which takes a long time. So still complying with the law, they made it as easy as possible for people to access their funds. Companies that provide KYC solutions, I know that they took away all the fees that needed for the verification performed for Ukrainian citizens. There were fintechs that take no fees for currency exchanges or transfers. Some fintechs provide assistance legally if there's business need to be relocated from Ukraine. The crowdfunding platforms have been raising money for charities. Even the QR codes that has been shown at the beginning of this event by Gintarė has also been made in collaboration by two fintechs here, just to take away that friction. And you know, every little helps. And I know that people personally have been putting their time and helping with things, with transportation, with accommodation, not to mention the millions of euros that have been raised either through the general public or donated by the fintechs themselves and sent towards the help in Ukraine. So to sum up, I think that Lithuanian fintech has never been this strong, and as Liutauras said, this year of records, but you know, survived the pandemic, even grew stronger and came strong out of the pandemic, and creating the inclusive tools to help, whether it's small businesses or people who are in need and coming here to Lithuania, fleeing their own country. So with that, I really believe that Lithuanian fintech ecosystem deserves a round of applause. And as Gintarė mentioned, I also would like to present the Fintech map. And the idea about it is, I think one of the reasons why Lithuanian Fintech ecosystem is so strong, because we work together. And I chose this picture not by accident, because in this picture you can see representatives from the fintech sector, from various fintech sector parts, whether it's governmental or private or any other area, coming together and working together and talking together. So we truly believe that teamwork makes dream work. And with that sort of philosophy, ROCKIT since 2017 been making the fintech map. The fintech map basically maps every single fintech company, 265 of them this year to be precise, on the map. And we do that so you not only can find out who's who in Lithuania, but you can also see the areas that are popular, or see the areas that maybe there is a business opportunity because they're underserved, and find partners and friends. So with that, let me present you the Fintech map. By scanning this QR code. If you don't have the time or you lose it after you scan it, here when you scan it, you'll get the link tree, and the first link on the top will be the map. Later on, you can always find it on rockitvilnius.com under the projects. So let's look at that map again. It's quite beautiful, 265. It's amazing. Obviously, payments is always the strong one and going strong. As I said, next year I'm hoping to see some climate fintech, maybe some wealth tech, maybe more of insurtech or some data analytics. But overall, you know, paraphrasing the saying, the Lithuanian fintech wasn't built in a day. And it's actually very beautiful to see so many of them strong here. So please use this map, download it, find friends, find partners, and keep working together for more resilient and more inclusive fintech community here in Lithuania. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Lina for weaving in so beautifully different topics of resilience, inclusion, green finance, and collaboration. And I can concur that collaborations and partnerships are crucial for ecosystem success. And I'd actually like to take this opportunity to acknowledge ROCKIT's impact and input in building this ecosystem, being the epicenter of the fintech community and doing the amazing work that they do with initiatives and events. So huge kudos and thank you. So continuing on the collaboration topic, we have another great example of how public institutions and the fintech companies come together. And for the past couple of months, public and private sector experts have joined the forces together to start working on the next chapter in the Lithuanian fintech ecosystem. We are developing new guidelines for Lithuania's fintech for the next 5 years. The Ministry of Finance is leading this initiative, and I would like to invite Vaida Česnulevičiūtė Markevičienė, Vice Minister for Finance, to present some of the key insights that have been produced from the initial analysis in developing the guidelines.
Hello, I'm very happy to be here and to be able to share the work that the Ministry of Finance is doing in developing the strategy for fintech sector development for the coming 5 years. And because of the continuous effort of public institutions, the fintech has become the crucial part of the Lithuanian financial ecosystem. And fintech is high on the political agenda both of the government and also of the Ministry of Finance. We want to maintain the position of Lithuania as the leader of fintech sector in the region. So in order to be able to maintain this position, we decided to bring together the representatives from private sector, from public institutions, from regulator and other interested organizations, so that we could develop the clear roadmap of how to ensure the lasting success of Lithuania as a center for fintech. So guidelines consist of 4 main topics. So first topic is ensuring further fintech sector growth and maturity. The second one is promoting the use of digital financial services. The second one is fostering innovation, creation of innovation and adoption of innovation. And the last one is strengthening of the risk management. The discussions that we are holding, they are intended to gather the needs, the concerns, and ideas of different stakeholders, private sector, investors, regulators, public institutions, as well as users of the services in order to be able to present the comprehensive plan for fintech. So the ultimate goal of these guidelines is to be able to ensure that fintech is bringing the transformation into financial sector, that it is also generating value to the broader economy, and of course, while doing that, that the risks are kept in check. So currently, we are still working on the recommendations, and what I'm going to do, I will share with you the insights of the analysis that has been done. So we had 2 stages. The first one is analysis, and based on this comprehensive and huge work that experts in the working group did, we are going to present the guidelines for fintech. So just to say how massive this work is, we did 4 surveys. So firstly, we surveyed 78 fintech companies, and here I would like to thank the Invest Lithuania for doing that and including the questions into the annual survey that they are doing. Secondly, the Ministry of Finance surveyed 1,881 customers. We made a representative survey. It means that we have like all the boxes checked for gender, age, income, and living area. Thirdly, we made a survey of companies that are not fintech companies, so the users or potential users of fintech services. Of course, the survey is not representative, but we surveyed 64 companies, and from that we can actually draw conclusions. And also, I would like to thank the members of the working group that conducted 10 one-hour-long surveys to find out what are the most prominent innovation that they are thinking about, and what is their technological background. And just to mention that the working group consists of 70 experts, so also their discussions is very valuable in coming up with comprehensive guidelines that will ensure the development of Lithuanian fintech sector in the coming 5 years. So based on our analysis, we came with several insights. So the first insight is that increasing competition shows that sector is mature, and it also shows the areas that can be further strengthened. So when we look into the areas that fintech companies themselves mention that needs most of their attention, is attracting qualified and suitable staff. The second one is developing IT and product. The third one is ensuring that they are meeting regulation and compliance requirements. But we also have another areas that are growing in importance, and this is expansion, international expansion of product portfolio, attracting more customers, and also very interestingly increase need of financing. And from Invest Lithuania presentation, you could see that last year was the record year in attracting finance, but what we see in our survey, that companies need even more. It means that they really have solid plans for expansion. And when we look deeper into these areas of attention, when we talk about challenges that the companies face when they are attracting talent, most of them, more than 60%, indicate that the main issue is the size of our talent pool. Then around 50% indicate that such factors as mismatch of skill and high expectations of salary, and also in general high labor costs are the reasons, the factors why it is hard to attract talent. When we talk about attraction of foreign talent, companies indicate that the reasons are like a third of them say that migration procedures is one of the reasons, and another two reasons that include of around like 15% of surveyed companies say that lack of knowledge about Lithuania in the expert community, and also the flight connections are the reasons for that. However, I would like to say on the positive note, the issue that the companies are saying that the areas of attention is expansion, international expansion, adoption of new clients. It means that the competition is getting more tight, because when there are many companies, it's harder to stand out. So it means that the companies are growing, maturing, then they start to competing with each other, they start to competing for customers and talent. When we think about international expansion, it means that the companies have already developed products that could be expanded internationally, then they think about developing more products. It means that the companies already have a very functional and profitable product that they want to expand on. So it all shows the maturity of the sector and high potential. And also, interestingly, the companies also said that they would like to see national strategy. And on that, hopefully, we can deliver. Looking at the second insight, so there is a potential to increase the usage of fintech services and products in the Lithuanian market. So when we look at the data, fintech companies are actively working in European Union EEA market. And it's not in the slide, but when we look at the customers of the fintech companies, so legal entities, the companies, they represent 66% of fintech clients, while natural persons account for 23%. And this is also largely reflected in the revenues where the companies are earning. So looking at the results, we saw that we need to survey both companies, the legal persons and the natural persons, about their willingness and potential to use financial services. And in order to find out if there is a potential for further growth, and for this we can say a definite yes. As you see in the slide, around a third of respondents, both in companies and natural people category, said that they are already using fintech services. And another third said that they are willing to try. So when you look at these numbers, you can notice that a very big potential also in the Lithuanian market to expand the activities of fintech sector. Also, when you look from the other side of the supply side, the fintech companies themselves, majority of them said that they are planning to increase their revenues from Lithuanian market. And this answer is, I would say, very natural, because when you look at the data, we have demand from customers and we have willing suppliers of financial services. So it's normal that also the market in Lithuania for use of fintech services will grow. But here I would like to point out one concern that was maybe more kind of prominent last year. It's about the kind of confining fintech to purely Lithuanian market. So I would like to calm you down. This is not why we are doing this survey. We are not intending to create any artificial borders. On the opposite, we want to increase the knowledge of the financial services users about the fintech, and also we want to encourage them to try and use them. So that's why we were working on these surveys. Moving on to the third insight is exploring technological innovation. There are endless possibilities to do that, and a partnership is the key to succeed. So on the slide you can see the most prominent technologies. I'm not going to go into detail about them because you are the experts, you know about them way more than I do. But what I'm going to talk about is about areas of the issues that companies mentioned then they were interviewed by the working group members that I want to thank again for their big work. What companies they're saying are the issues when they are trying to adopt or create new technologies. So first issue is that when you invest in R&D, and if it's not successful, no one is going to give you the money back. It's normal, it's risky, but on the other hand, when there is a big risk, there can be a big gain. Secondly, human resources. So this is a recurring already problem. You heard about this also in the first slide. We really need talent, and we really need the highest quality talent when we do research and development. Third one is the fact that technology is always going faster than the regulation. And I would say, luckily, it's not the regulation that shapes the way for innovation, but vice versa. And fourthly, the reason was taxation. So just to manage the expectations, these guidelines are not going to cover all the comprehensive scope for encouraging research and development activities, but we will look from fintech perspective at the measures that we can do and that are the most effective to encourage the innovation, both creation and adoption. And here what we find out, and I think it's a very valuable insight, that most of the companies, they do not develop technologies in-house, but they partner with other companies, mostly from Lithuania. So I would say that it's a very good symbiosis, because the companies are focusing on what they know best. Fintech companies are focusing on customer attraction of expansion, and they partner with Lithuanian companies for technological solutions. And it seems that Lithuanian companies can provide very good custom technological solutions, and there is no need to develop that in-house. So the partnerships are really key for our market. And the last insight is about the risk management. It is complex, but it is achievable. And when you look on the slide, you can see the main risks identified by the fintech sector. And when you read them, it's nothing new. So the good news is that we don't have any surprises. These risks are there for fintech. These risks are there for all the financial sector. Second good news is that if it's a risk, it can be manageable, and it should be managed. So it's not about talking how to eradicate risks, because it's not possible, but what we have to do is to know them and take measures to manage them in an efficient and effective manner. So that's what our guidelines will try to do, to say how can we deal with those risks that will be cost efficient and effective. So I just presented you the results of the analysis, and of course you all are eager to know what we are going to do about it. What will be the strategy and what will be the measures? I can't disclose you now because we are in the process. So we are still developing that together with the working group, with experts, as I said, from private sector, from public sector, from the regulator. And in the next 3 months, we are going to present you the final result. And I'm very hopeful, looking at the experts in our group and looking at their involvement, that those guidelines will meet your high expectations, and most importantly, they will ensure that in the next 5 years, Lithuania remains the fintech center. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Vice Minister. Indeed, it's been such a complex and massive work to conduct this analysis. As you can see, the results are amazing, and it really gives us great insights into the collaborative flavor of this new guidelines that will be developed, and with the inputs from the market, but also with continued support by all of the key government stakeholders. So I'm sure that this collaboration will power the continuous successful development of the fintech sector in Lithuania. And with that, I would like to conclude the first part of the event. I would like to thank once again our speakers today, and give the floor over to Jekaterina Bitus, Head of Startup Partnerships at ROCKIT, and Alex Gibb, Partner at Catalysta Ventures, to kick off the Lithuanian Fintech Awards.
So, very warm welcome. Lovely to see you, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests.
Welcome. Welcome to ROCKIT. Welcome to Lithuanian Fintech Awards ceremony.
This is Jekaterina.
And this is Alex.
And we're here today for the Lithuanian Fintech Awards 2022. We aim to recognize the vibrant Lithuanian fintech ecosystem players that have made outstanding contributions to the country's fintech industry, as well as those who are positioned to make a significant impact in the future.
Organized for the second time, Lithuanian Fintech Awards are described in 7 different categories, designed to celebrate the industry's achievements and to showcase fintechs and our company's success and accomplishments.
And before we announce the winners, we can thank you all for voting, for making these awards happen, and also for those of you who have actually nominated startups for the awards this evening. So we obviously hope that you managed to see your favorite startups win the awards this evening.
I'd go along with that, and then also thanks to our distinguished jury, both local and international experts. And it was not easy for them to select the best of the best, given how many strong companies and fintechs we have in Lithuania. But let us get straight to the part that everyone is waiting the most, so the awards itself.
Super. So it's time to introduce the first nomination, which is Fintech Innovator of the Year, where the sky is the limit. This is a company that applies innovative technologies such as AI, blockchain, Internet of Things, biometrics, robotics, to create outstanding future-proof fintech solutions.
And to introduce the nominees and to announce the winner, we will need an inspiring word from the person whose own source of inspiration are people who's doing job with love and devotion, and I need to admit that he's one of those great examples himself. And I can't hold myself from sharing the insight that today is his last day at his current position. He has got promoted to a BIS Committee of Payments and Market Infrastructures, and soon will be leaving to Basel. So now you are aware, please take a chance to shake his hand after the ceremony and congratulate. So it's my pleasure to introduce Martynas Pilkis. Just a moment, wait.
I see you smiling, clapping, so you are happy me to leave. I get my message. But jokes aside, so if we want to be our best and if we want to learn from very best, financial industry has to be all across the globe. We have to travel a lot. Having said that, we live in Lithuania, we live in Vilnius, majority of us, and we want to see Lithuania succeed. And in order for Lithuania to succeed, we need to see innovations happening here. So right here I have 3 very cool companies, all innovating in their respective spheres. Ondato, Inventi, and SuperHow, all doing great things in Lithuania regarding the research and development. But here is only one winner today, and without any further ado, it's a company which is operating in a very risky area, in an area which 5, 6, 7 years ago seemed like, just a one-day temporary fad. And many companies have actually died in that sphere. Despite the fact this company didn't die, and it got bigger, especially last year, with many new products launched, and it is SuperHow. Your applause.
It is so unexpected. I was thinking what to say actually, and as innovator I want to inspire everyone. So basically as a kids we dream big, we believe in magic, and people believe that growing up you dream less, there is less magic, but is it so? An author of Space Odyssey, Arthur Clarke, once said that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So we at SuperHow, we dream big, we make dreams happen, and we create that magic. And don't forget that unicorns are the magical creatures.
Congratulations to our first winner, and with no further ado, let us step to the next nomination. In a moment, we will see what companies were nominated for the best growth story of a fintech company in 2021, for their hard work, for their excellence and creativity, led to rapid but steady growth in terms of users, revenue, or entering new markets within the past year.
And I have the pleasure to introduce this guest. And I have two fun facts about her. The first one is that she said, well, she used to say that she would never ever work in the public sector. And here she is, successfully 4 years later, working with Startup Lithuania. And the second one is we know that she's an avid travel fan. And before I saw her just in the corridor this evening, the last time I saw her was in a restaurant in Tenerife. So I can assure that that's true. So a very warm welcome to Roberta Rudokiene from Startup Lithuania.
Hello everyone, it's really great pleasure to see you here in real life and to have this live event. And I'm super happy to be the announcer of this nomination because, you know, growth is essential part for any startup, any company, any business. And all the companies that applied or were suggested for this nomination really showed impressive numbers. And they want to congratulate all of them. And that's why we had that record year last year, because of this extraordinary growth. And we have 3 nominees. You can see them on the screen. It's SME Bank, Connect Pay, and Montonio. And the winner is a round of applause for SME Bank.
To be honest, wasn't expecting this, so wasn't preparing for a speech. But as CEO, you have to always be prepared to say something. So, of course, firstly, thank you for my team, who actually was responsible for this growth. It was a hell of the year, hell of the half of the year, let's say, because we started only June last year. And now we currently have already more than 300 customers, more than 50 million euros of portfolio. And, you know, starting in Finland, Spain, Netherlands, Germany this year. So lots to come. So thank you for this, for recognition, and we will see each other. I know this.
So, next up, number 3, which is Fintech Enabler of the Year. This is a company that's transforming financial services into a more direct and innovative approach. These are Fintech enablers in cybersecurity, insurtech, regtech, analytics, big data, identity, financial software, any other buzzword you can actually fit into this category, they're all there.
And to open the envelope, I already have it here. For the best fintech enabler, it's great to have a person who is representing the team that is a true enabler for Vilnius community, Vilnius business community, Vilnius fintech community. The team that implemented the first and the most brave marketing campaign. I'm referring now to Vilnius, the G-spot of Europe. So I bet everyone in the audience remembers that. So give us a warm, please give a warm welcome to Tautvydas Tamulevičius, Head of Business at Go Vilnius.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Fintech Enabler, wow, what a category it is. I bet everyone will be saying the same thing, but this is an important one. I'm privileged to be here and present this one because I think it celebrates 2 things that we're most proud of here in Vilnius. One is that we have a capability, we have the biggest fintech ecosystem out there, and it's here, in this city. It's a fact, and that's something that we're really proud of. And again, the second thing is that we have a drive to change. We have a drive to transform, and we have a capability, and we have a drive. And when you match these 2 things, magic things are happening, and they're happening here in the city. So we have a lot of companies and a lot of talent working in these in the sector of fintech and the related sectors. We had 3 nominees in this particular category, that is Tipit, Andaro, and Ocredo, but there can only be one. A company which last year, towards the end of the year, was nominated and received an award as a rising star of Vilnius' startup ecosystem. Also won a popular votes nomination towards the end of last year. And it just seems that 2022 has more in store for Ondato.
Thank you so much. As it's already used here, like no preparation for the for the speech, but it's been a really good year actually for all of us. You know, we've seen that, and we are so happy to be the part of this ecosystem and to actually enable quite a few of the local ecosystem as well to work, to operate, and to sometimes provide the services. Or to enable them to provide the services remotely, and so on and so on. And that this reward, is really important for us, just because we work in that kind of field that is sometimes feels like a bit of unsexy. You know, that compliance, anti-money laundering procedures and everything. And with this mission, like to turn the compliance into the business benefit, it seems that we do something really good. And we also are happy that, during the last year we grew 3 times, from 60 people to 180 today. We're looking forward to have more than 400 next year. So it's really a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for this award. Thanks so much.
For sure, he needs no preparation, Liudas. It's always great to see you here at ROCKIT on our stage, so please come every day. And we are one more step forward in the Lithuanian Fintech Awards, and our next nomination is dedicated toward not a company, but a person, a captain in 2021, playing the key role in the Lithuanian Fintech community and making significant contribution to the whole financial technology sector in our country. So we are going toward the Fintech Leader of the Year.
And to introduce the guest who will be presenting this award is a person who is truly inspired by Lithuania. And he has constantly tried to understand how a country with no land, with no natural resources, a complicated history, even more complicated neighbors, has not only managed to survive, but to be one of the top performing companies in the world. So please welcome Karolis Žemaitis, who's advisor to the Minister at the Ministry of Economic and Innovation of the...
Hello everyone, it's a great pleasure being here, and in our world we like to calculate everything. We like to calculate taxes, we like to calculate revenue, we like to calculate return on investment, but the most complicated and the most crucial aspect in our equations, and the one that is the most difficult to understand or to calculate, is the leadership factor. That is the main factor whether you are trying to open up a business, to develop an ecosystem, or fighting a war. And the leadership factor is the X factor that is pushing the fintech sector as well. And we already see a bunch of leaders already here. And out of all the leaders that we have here tonight, the jury selected, and you selected 3 of them, and all of them are already the leaders of this sector, and they are Aušrinė, Vaida Amulė, and Liudas Kanapienis, and I think all 3 of them deserve a round of applause as the leaders themselves. And the pleasure is all mine to announce that the Fintech Leader of the Year is Aušrinė, Connect Pay.
Thank you. Well, I did prepare, actually, because this morning I realized that the Leader of the Year nomination is for the person, not for the company, which I was preparing to have for the company. And saying that and reflecting the presentations that was said by Aušrinė, the minister, and Lina as well, the leader, it's not me personally, it's you, like it's the team that I'm working with. It's the whole system, so I cannot be a leader without my team who are the leaders in their fields. And obviously, I know that many or majority of you are the leaders in your scenes as well. So whether we talk about Ukraine, whether we're talking about helping others, that's where our leadership is here. And to be honest, my stepping into the fintech system was a very crazy one. And I promised it's the last time I'm talking about that. We started really from the low, from the sanctions and from recognizing the gaps that we had. And it's been 2.5 years, a really difficult one, and, but really successful ones. And I really want to thank and congratulate my team, our team of ConnectPay, of making a very, very successful journey of becoming the leaders of the system and showing the, the responsibility and the things that can be done in the sector as well, in a non-sexy sector, as you mentioned as well. So thank you a lot.
So we can move on to number 5, which is Fintech Startup of the Year. So this is a rising star in fintech, a startup company created within the last 5 years and that has shown the greatest development based on growth, innovation, and impact with its product or service.
And speaking about the stars and the startups, the most frequently used emoji, now just remember how your chats or messengers look like, is a flying rocket. So it's the most frequently used emoji for the flying company. So it represents the powerful energy and high scaling speed. And our next guest to open the envelope and introduce the winner is the person who knows well how to speed and, what is more important, how to control the speed. So my insider disclosed me the information and the fact that for a year he worked as a ski and snowboard instructor in Austria. So I believe he's happy to use that gain superpower in his professional life and career. So please welcome Justinas Pašys, Managing Director at Lithuanian Business Angel Network.
Thank you for the introduction. It was quite a year for fintech startups in Lithuania, and what crazy times we're living in now. But I was asked to say something personal and something from Business Angel's perspective. So I'm actually happy that we do all kinds of surveys in Litban. We ask our business angels where would they want to invest, and we ask them where they do invest at the end of the year. So, surprise, surprise, fintech is number one, takes always number one spot in those surveys among our angels where they invested. So, if there's anybody watching me speak now, apply to Litban for funding fintech startups. You are mostly welcome. Yes, shameless plug. Also, I'm happy to say that all 3 of the nominees, Poklet, Kevin, and Rento, have received Business Angel funding at one point or another, or in multiple rounds, and have fueled their growth with it. So, hooray for that. I hope you are as excited to know who won as I am. The company that won this award is, all 3 startups have grown tremendously in the past year. So that's great, but there's been one who has just stood head and shoulders above the rest. And they have grown so fast, and their headcount has grown so fast that they've even recruited my wife. She started working there this month. So the winner is Kevin. I was also informed that due to last-minute changes, Kevin's co-founder was not able to attend today, but hey, Pavel, Tadej, this award is waiting for you here in ROCKIT, or my wife can bring it tomorrow to the office. Okay. Thank you.
Super. Thanks, Justine. So next up, we talk about number 6, which is the FinTech Company of the Year. So here we're celebrating and recognizing excellence across the lending and investment markets. So lending, investment, P2P company, driving change in the industry and supporting growing business.
So to announce the FinTech Company of the Year, we have a guest who is one more great example of exploiting sports skills for the professional career. So the person who knows about keeping the leadership in the race a lot. He's addicted to cycling and calls it the new golf. He says that you can find much more FinTech enablers riding bikes than playing golf. I see that way too, just rephrasing a bit that you can find much more Lithuanian fintech entrepreneurs at ROCKIT than in any golf club. So give a warm welcome to Elias Chivilis, General Manager at Invest Lithuania.
All right. When I was a kid, my coach used to teach us, you have to work hard. And then once you win a competition, you have to celebrate hard as well. We went beyond that. We started celebrate everything what we're gonna win. So all those 3 companies here, they can already celebrate tonight because they were shortlisted to the best company of the year. So, and the winner is Heavy Finance.
Well, it definitely doesn't happen often that in the morning you start with a tractor and in the afternoon you get the award for FinTech. That's impressive. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the whole team, our investors. That's actually a massive celebration for us. Thank you all. And agriculture is one of the most polluting sectors in the world. We are trying to make it from the most polluting to climate positive. Join us. Thanks.
Congratulations. All awards up till this point were decided by professional jury, making rational decisions based on the facts and the knowledge of the sector. However, the next nomination is the vote of love. It's the public vote. So the audience got a chance to nominate their favorite fintech company and vote for their beloved brand.
And I have the pleasure of introducing the person who will be presenting this award. And maybe you can guess when I tell you this, but her mother-in-law is strategically placed 18,000 kilometers away. Lina is inspired by people who manage to wear lots of hats and have lots of different activities. And she really loves her ROCKIT team and the ROCKIT community, which is truly inspiring for her. So Lina Žemaitytė-Kirkman, please come up and present the award.
Right, I'm very happy to be presenting this public vote. As Ekaterina said, it's the vote of love. And I also have a little confession to make, since these awards were organized by ROCKIT. I actually took advantage of the fact that I could see the public vote happening as it was happening. So we have 3 very strong companies nominated here, Ondata, Pacer, and Montonio. And they all three are very loved because when I was sitting there, it was like watching a Formula 1 car race. One day there's one company winning and you think, yeah, they got it. And the next day you wake up, oh no, there's more votes, there's another company winning. So till the last moment, the tension was really up, and I'm trying to keep the tension here for you as well. But seriously, I don't know who won. So this is going to be a surprise for me too. And the vote of love goes to Sarah.
Yeah, unexpected. Thank you, guys. Actually, it's getting really crowded here in Lithuania, I would say. We are one of the oldest startups in Lithuania, and it's 15 or 14 years. We started not as a fintech company. We made a lot of innovations, and with all the crowdiness here, we are getting a lot of nice ideas from you where to go next. And sometimes we feel like university for all those email and know your customer guys, and sometimes we call this process in a company kill your customers with paper. So yeah, a lot of challenges await of us, and it's really nice to see that government is helping us, opening data and actually listening to us. So we hope for a lot of more opportunities to talk and to make this regulation as best as possible, and not to make friction and expanding business here in Lithuania and abroad. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a great feeling, Alex, right? When you see how people were not expecting and unexpectedly they got an award. So thank you all. Thank you all for being with us, for sharing this moment. Please stay tuned and follow the FinTech community achievements, and of course enjoy the new FinTech Forward report. I just want to remind you that you can download it by scanning the QR code in our end of the broadcasting, or you can just access it online. But thank you one more time.
Thank you very much, especially to those who